Welcome YouTubers and Doctor Who fanatics to another Big Finish ordered review, which is Equilibrium. I apologise about the delay of this. It should have came out yesterday. So if you want to skip how this audio is presented, you want to go straight to the review, there's the time. If you have or haven't skipped, let's begin the video. So we have the Doctor Who logo, Equilibrium by Matt Fitton, the Piri Davison picture by there, with also the main characters starring in the story, and there they all are. We have Eisenfell Palace, and with all these cogs in the background as well. And you understand why they're in the cover when the story progresses on. It's not just a fairy tale kingdom, it's more than that. So if you just get the light on it, we have Doctor Who Equilibrium 196. And for the back we have what this story is about. So I will place this in the description. And we have the cast members including the supporting characters. It's 120 minutes approx, but not really. So if we open it up, we have the booklet and the disc. The discs are exactly the same part 1, 2 and in part 3 and 4. We have more 5th Doctor releases such as The Gathering, the first Tegan adventure, and this is where by here it starts off the 80s journey. And for the booklet, if we open it up, we have the director's notes from Ken Bedley, behind the scenes. We have the writer's notes from Matt Fitton. We have some of the characters right below. Also, you can probably tell from you Who fans that you may notice this person right by here. And we have the next release, well, it's already out now, which is the Entropy play. And you have the alternative cover, if you wish it. I like the Doctor Who logo, the Peter Davison logo, it matches the cover art really nice. But you can flip it over if you desire, but I go all standard. Now to my review of Equilibrium. Now, Equilibrium is one of these stories where it doesn't look good when you look at it like this. But when you actually listen to it for yourself, it's a totally different story. It's one of these ones. So the overall premise of Equilibrium, it follows on from the events of Mistfall, and the TARDIS materialises in Eisenfell. And when it does start off, it does feel like a magical sort of realm, be icy, snowy, and these big beasts around. And what I like about the first part of it, it really does feel that it is just a magical realm, but as the story progresses, it's a lot more than that, and without really giving it away, the story becomes a little bit more mechanical. That's I can't really say a word which will give it away. You just have to find it for yourself. That will just explain the cogs on the front cover, mechanical. So you probably won't really know what I'm saying if you haven't listened to it. But if you have, you will get the general gist of it. What I really like about Equilibrium, it really does suit in the Need-Space story more than any story I've ever watched or listened to. It just snaps right in there. Very magical it is, very light, with a balance, with a very light story, but also a very dark story, and Matt Fitton has really balanced out those two, which I do just absolutely really love. And he's also dived into the characters really much, especially with the Doctor, Nyssa and Turlough. Tegan didn't do not too much, but mostly focused on these two, and especially Turlough. Yeah, I really wished I just went for it and listened to it rather just backing down from it a lot, because this had just so many different ideas which I thought were just incredible in this story, and to be honest, it's blown me away. It has. Equilibrium, I'm very surprised how well it turned out. So yeah, I'll go by part. Is that part 1, it just seems very simple with the Doctor and all the 80s gang land in the realm of Eisenfell, and it seems like pretty normal what's going on, meeting all the characters like the Queen Carlina, I believe her name, and also right on the bat Turlough gets a very nice relationships with Inga, which is another character which is the daughter of the Queen, which is just fabulous, and he's just, I would definitely call this one of the strongest Turlough stories. I'm not a big fan of him, but he gets it good in this story. So yeah, part 1, you know, it's the standard is, but I like that because when it goes to the other parts, this is so unpredictable. You just do not see it coming with the change, and a lot does change as the story progresses. And you can see Eisenfell to be quite of a dark place, even though it's very snowy and bright. It has some dark stuff in it, such as the lore of Eisenfell, which is, you know, quite dark it is. Part 2 is where we sort of see this mechanical stuff come into play. And also, if I turn it around, with this character called Skarsgård, who plays a very good character in this part. And also, it's pretty irrelevant, but if you want to know what happened to Solus on the end of Mistfall, what happened to his character is explained in this one briefly, so you can find out what happens to him. It's nothing big in the story, but if you want to know what happens to Solus, it's in this audio. Now we come to the cast featured in the story, starting with the main characters, with the Doctor, Peter Davison, who I gotta say was just absolutely incredible in this story. And what Mistfall didn't do too well, it's very isolated from Equilibrium. And probably the same thing with the Entropy Plague, but I haven't listened to it yet. But the Doctor in this was absolutely fantastic, seen to another side to his character, which I haven't seen expanded in the TV series whatsoever. But in this one, he actually shows a little bit of darkness, which I love. But he says to Nyssa that he's actually committed quite a lot of dark times in his 5th incarnation, such as the death of Adric was all his fault. And some brilliant characterization with Nyssa, which Matt Fitton has explored, absolutely fantastic. And yeah, Jonathan Morris will be expanding on that. Yeah, Matt Fitton hit it right on the nail. So yeah, I can say to Matt Fitton, a fantastic job by writing the Doctor, absolutely, and Peter Davison playing his part magnificent. Tegan Janet Fielding, who didn't do too much in this audio, I gotta admit, but she's more in the story with Mistfall, but Equilibrium not too much. But I think that's good because Tegan really was the part of Mistfall's story, but this one not too much. So yeah, I'm personally okay with that, to be honest. Now Nyssa, who actually had quite a lot to do in this audio, which I do like, and again with that characterization with the Doctor, which I well and truly love. And yeah, you can tell, I'm not going to say it obviously, but the end of the Entropy Plague, I knew what was going to be the end of that anyway, so yeah, it's pretty predictable, I know what's going to happen. Yeah, Nyssa is some fantastic with this brilliant characterization, which I love. I cannot wait until I see this expanded. And now Turlough, I've definitely called this a story for Turlough, but in a good way, because, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of Turlough, well, I don't think mostly anyone is, but Mark Strickson was fantastic, also had a very good relationship, Turlough, with Inga, which was the daughter of the Queen, Carlina, which was absolutely fantastic. Turlough got some great moments, again, on the hunt, hunting these monsters, or the beasts in Eisenfell, which I loved very much. We come to the supporting characters with Queen Carlina, who actually played one of the Savines in Series 1 of The New Who, which is played by Anita Badland, who was actually really good. She was absolutely fantastic again. Then we probably come to the most important one, which is Skarsgård, who I won't keep his character quiet, but the way the story's told and where it gets a little bit more mechanical, I'll just leave that to you. Skarsgård links to that quite a lot, so I'm going to keep his character quiet, but Nicholas Grace played him very well. Inga, again, fantastic chemistry between Turlough, which I absolutely love, especially on the hunt. Very courageous that she would hunt beasts twice the size of her, but yeah, still fantastic, and a really good cliffhanger in part 3 when Turlough and Inga are on the hunt. And for the last two, Jesper and Romy, which I personally found forgettable. I didn't really care too much about their characters, but best overall supporting character, I'll probably say it's Inga, absolutely, and best main character, oh, I gotta give it to the Doctor. That's probably a shocker, but Peter Davison played the part fantastically. Or it would possibly be Turlough, because he had some great chemistry with Inga. Now my overall thoughts and opinions on Equilibrium. It is a magical and light story, but also Matt Fitton does balance both light and dark in the story, which I did not expect. Has some fantastic unpredictable moments which you did not expect. And Matt Fitton has personally written one of the best gems for Peter Davison's Doctor, for Turlough's character, and for Nyssa, which will be expanded later on in the next story. I personally think this is one of the best 5th Doctor stories which I've ever listened to, and it beats all the TV stories I've watched so far. And yeah, it's one of my favourite 5th Doctor stories. My favourite is Psychodrome now, because that's possibly the best for Davison ever for his Doctor, but this comes into a second place. Fantastic Equilibrium is. I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. I don't think I would give it a 9, but maybe I'll have to give it a re-listen, but it's such a strong story. Very nice dark moments which I weren't expecting. This story does not really have a villain in it, which I do like. It's just one of these stories that doesn't really need to have a villain in it. I personally think it is a character piece, absolutely, and definitely especially for the Doctor and Nyssa and Turlough and Inga. It's just a nice, fantastic romp, and I personally get it. Don't judge a book by its cover. It's a just a fantastic story, and I'm surprised for saying that. So yes, that was my review on Equilibrium. The Entropy Plague and Requiem of the Rocket Man will also be coming up soon, so have a good one.